Thank you, President. Now, fellow Rotarians and guests, let's begin with a tale of two American cities. And the two cities are York and New York City. We all know York is known as the White Rose City. New York is known as, thank you, York also has Continental Square. New York City has, thank you so much. New York City also has the Dauphin. And York has our speaker, David Hogg. Roles in their communities, and both are Presbyterian. Only one has a code. Not this one, not ours. Real estate tycoon Donald Trump was not the founder of his firm. Actually, he started working at his father's firm, which he was given control of in 1971, and later renamed it the Trump Organization. The Donald has declared bankruptcy 3 times, and he is married 3 times. Real estate magnate David Hogg is the founder of a successful real estate and hospitality empire that is currently expanding south into Maryland. As the founder of Springwood Companies, the Dauphin has provided his entrepreneurial spirit and leadership savvy to many of our community organizations, including board chair of the York County Convention Visitors, which thankfully survived that. The tale of 2 American cities will now feature York's own David Hogg, whose business success and community leadership will ensure that our Continental Square and our community will be competitive into the future and experience only the best of times. Please welcome York's own, the Dauphin.
President Al, fellow Rotarians, guests, let's get started. Roy Spence, the advertising genius behind FedEx and Southwest Airlines, says the destination is the motivator, the journey is the thrill. My mentors have helped make this true for me. At General Growth Companies, they have Park City Mall, in case you don't know who they are. I was the youngest VP ever, and I did leasing. I would bring a new tenant to my boss, Bob Michaels, and he would say, sounds good to me, make a deal, what else you got cooking? Every time, sounds good to me, make the deal, what else you got cooking? Never, that's a great fit for that shopping center. Nice job. So I felt unappreciated for a while, but finally I understood. Success does not derive from a single transaction. Success derives from a steady stream of transactions. What else you got cooking was Bob Michaels' window to the company's future. General Growth was a great place to learn. Everywhere else I've worked, I thought I could do it better than my employer did. My dad was a good mentor, passed away only 7 months ago. He taught me to set goals, not compromise my beliefs, and never, ever give up. I was 10 when I raced slot cars in his basement with my brother. My best car was a red Ferrari that burned itself into my mind. My whole life I dreamed about driving a real one. I shared that dream with my dad about 25 years ago, and he simply said, you know, Dave, if you want to drive a Ferrari for real, you better start your own business, because I don't know how you'll ever do that on the salary. He was right. In 1996, I had been married 5 years. We had saved up $50,000. We were living in Hunt Valley. We had a 1-year-old Michael, and our second child was on the way. So I started a property management company, and I moved the family to Pennsylvania into a new house we were building just before Matt was born. But the house wasn't ready, so we had to live with Barb's mom for 2 months, and I gained 10 pounds. Thank you. She's a good cook. Springwood opened January of '97 when Matt was 3 months old. How our marriage survived me being such an idiot, I'll never know. So for you younger folks, never make more than one big change per year. It's just a recipe for disaster. Fortunately, I married well and we're still together. But it got more interesting. A few months after we opened Springwood, most of that $50,000 was gone. It was educational. Now, I've never owned any of Hope Construction, and it's never owned any of Springwood, but I can tell you back then, I wish we were part of a larger family enterprise because the startup would have been much easier. But Springwood has always gone solo, and so it is. So I couldn't pay the bills just by managing properties, so I started developing. We turned a 100-year-old factory in Shrewsbury into 47 affordable apartments for seniors. It was funded with federal money, and we made development and management fees. It was a business model that Springwood desperately needed at the time. We did it well, and we won some awards. So we developed another one in New Freedom. Then another in Shrewsbury. I had a solid housing team, and we were growing. But I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I bought control of the Comfort Inn in York and converted it to a Holiday Inn Express. That wasn't enough, so I developed the Comfort Inn on North George Street. Third parties managed both these hotels because we didn't have the expertise. We developed more senior housing, this time in Cumberland County, and then in York Township. We gained a reputation for affordable housing excellence, and we won some more awards. And I put this in just because I think they're cool pictures. About then, I took up racing BMWs, and I won the Northeast Regional Championship in my class. And that hobby ended in 2013 when an ABS failure backed my improved race car, it's always improved, into a tree at 90 miles an hour, followed by a 3-month concussion recovery. The wife and the team were not happy, but I still really enjoy sports cars. We developed a 6th affordable housing complex, this time again in Cumberland County, and then a 7th in Springwood Township. We were now the market leader in affordable housing for seniors in both York and Cumberland Counties, and I became an expert. I even got to talk at the annual state conference. In 2008, we developed the Homewood Suites in York. It was also managed by third party, and I knew we could do it better than they did. It was time to act. Brown's chocolate peanut butter cake helped recruit Justin Shelton to move his entire family from Dauphin, Alabama to York, PA to become president of Springwood Hospitality in July of 2009. Our relationship has become like those described in Michael Eisner's book, Working Together. Michael had Frank Wells. Warren Buffett has Charlie Munger, and I have Justin. He's smarter than I am, and he wants to own one of the best hotel companies in the world. We're working together to help them achieve that vision. Revenue at all of our hotels increased by more than 10% when Justin's Springwood team took over. In 2011, we developed an 8th affordable housing complex, this time in Stewartstown. It was our largest and our last, because I had an epiphany. If I kept developing affordable housing, I would spend a lifelong career and wind up with very little net worth to show for it. As an entrepreneur, that would just be embarrassing. The government makes affordable housing a poor investment. It's just designed that way. Presbyterian Senior Living was struggling with management of its affordable portfolio, so I struck a deal with them. If they bought our housing management division, I would give them my ownership in all of our affordable housing complexes as a donation. In December of 2012, we did the deal. I gave away the complexes over the next 18 months. Our division manager moved to Presbyterian and took down a nice six-figure bonus. The Penmar organization walked away with more than $1 million as our partner on 7 of the deals. Springwood left the business that had put us on the map. It was beneficial to all concerned. Justin wanted Springwood Hospitality to become exclusively Hilton and Marriott, and as I learned more, I finally agreed. The Hilton and Marriott rewards programs drive more than half of all the room nights sold system-wide for both brands. No other chain comes close. So, as the Presbyterian transfers were underway, we opened the Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott in Hershey. It won the 2013 Fairfield Opening of the Year Award from Marriott out of 30 Fairfields opened that year worldwide. This brand has done really well for us and for our investors. In the summer of 2013, we operated 5 hotels, but most were Hilton, non-Marriott. So we sold off the Holiday Inn Express in York and the Comfort Inn in York. And then we closed the Country Inn and Suites in Hershey to convert it to a Hampton Inn and Suites. This was the first time this had ever been done. Springwood went from 3 to 5 hotels to 2 during the same period of time when we gave away more than 500 residential units. 2013 through mid-2014 was an ugly time for us from a banker's perspective, but we had a plan, and we were executing it. In February 2014, Springwood Hospitality could finally say we were exclusively Hilton and Marriott. We opened the Hampton Inn and Suites in York last spring. Investors who trust us with their equity capital like the checks they're getting from us, and that helps us accelerate our growth. We're opening the Homewood Suites by Hilton in Frederick this year. We'll also start a Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott in Lancaster this year, across from Dutch Wonderland. Springwood Hospitality won more than a dozen international awards in just the past 2 years. Not bad for a little company with just a few hotels. And most were judged by the guests who stay with us. It's such an honor to be recognized by the guests we serve every day. Over the years, we've also learned a lot about serving our investors. A big part of that is Springwood's profit-first philosophy is 5 points. First, we don't charge the fees that others do. We only share in proceeds after investors get a priority return, and if we fall short, our share disappears quickly. We do Hilton and Marriott brands only. We own the land to get a better exit. We do wood frame construction that gives better quality than concrete at $10 per square foot less, and we manage our own. A hotel is a business, and management largely determines the hotel's success. Experts forecast U.S. hospitality revenue will grow by 7.4% this year, and the industry may have its best year ever. Hilton and Marriott are positioned better than anyone else to take advantage. It's a perfect scenario. So why the bright outlook? There are 3 factors influencing the bright outlook in the hospitality industry today. The first one is global political stability. That in the past third of a century has permitted the global economy to take on proportions that nobody dreamed about a third of a century ago. This was brought about by 4 revolutions. The first is what I call the peace revolution. There's peace among the major powers of the world brought about by the end of the Cold War. In 1980, there were 75 conflicts raging around the world. Today, there are only a handful. I know that seems odd, but it's true. Democratic republics and capitalism are taking root. Nations are now focused on improving the lives of their citizens, which means growing economies. Prior to capitalism, men grew wealthy by looting and enslaving their fellow man. Capitalism has made it possible for men and women to grow wealthy by serving their fellow man. It's not perfect, but capitalism just keeps changing the world for the better. Next is the data revolution. 1990 predates the World Wide Web. Think about that. The iPhone 6 has more computing power than the entire Apollo space program. It's stunning. It is changing the world. The global economic revolution. Countries that for 400 years were locked out of the global economic system are now playing an important role. 85 countries today are growing at more than 3% annually. Developing markets are expanding at 5%. Asia is growing at 6.5% per year right now. The fourth revolution is the American Revolution. The U.S. is the only rich country in the world that is still growing demographically. In 4 years, the U.S. may be the world leader in the export of liquid hydrocarbons. Outside of D.C., we still have cooperation and problem solving on a scale seldom duplicated. De Tocqueville noticed that the strength of the U.S. was that it tackled issues from the bottom up, and it still does. So what's the result of these revolutions? The middle class worldwide doubled in the last 20 years, and it will double again in the next 20. Global tourism has doubled in 20 years, and it will double again in the next 20. Developing markets are dramatically underserved in the hospitality segment. 100 million Chinese traveled outside China in 2013, and this will double by 2020. Hilton and Marriott dominant global digital platforms can quickly build their brand in developing countries. Cultural isolation is the #1 deterrent to Chinese foreign travel. Hilton doubled its Chinese share just last year with a unique Chinese concierge program that makes it easier for them to adjust to new environments overseas. Hilton has signed an agreement to develop more than 400 Hamptons in China, which will become Hilton's second largest market by 2018. Marriott now offers an Arabic language website with toll-free reservation agents speaking more than 50 languages worldwide. There's a handout on your table if you'd like to take along that summarizes these political stability factors. So the second driver of the industry's bright outlook is millennial generation power. Within 2 years, millennials will have room demand that surpasses that of the baby boomers. They take more overnight trips than any other demographic, and travel is their #1 preferred way to spend money. They thoroughly research peer reviews before traveling. They're risk takers with time poverty. I love that term, time poverty. Very descriptive. And a thirst for experience. They don't even remember a world without smartphones. And yes, my 18-year-old confirmed that for me yesterday. Says he really doesn't. In 2018, roughly 70% of Hilton and Marriott business worldwide will come from millennials. Why? Because they understand millennials. All 4,000 Marriott properties will have mobile check-in and check-out by year-end. Your smartphone will operate your guest room door at all Hamptons by year-end. Marriott redesigned its Fairfield brand 2 years ago to attract millennials, and it's working. Hilton developed an entirely new brand for millennials called Home2 Suites by Hilton. It's the fastest growing moderately priced hotel chain in the United States, and it's working very well. High quality offerings and global millennial focus will increase Hilton and Marriott's share of the U.S. hospitality industry. If you don't believe it, Right now, as we speak, more than half the U.S. hospitality pipeline is Hilton and Marriott. So the first driver of the U.S. hospitality industry's bright outlook is global political stability. The second is the increasing influence of the millennial generation. The third driver is solid demand growth paired with low supply growth at the same time. U.S. demand is rising at 4.5% a year, but U.S. supply is rising at only 2% per year. Put that in perspective, in 2009, U.S. supply growth reached 3.3%. Supply is stymied because development experts left the industry in 2009. It's difficult to finance lesser brands. Dodd-Frank banking regulation is killing hospitality growth, and I'll explain that over a beer sometime if you'd like the details. It's too long to get into right now, and I get too emotional about it. Construction inflation is increasing. This modest growth is challenging limited construction capacity. Many workers have left the industry. There are subcontractors who in 2008 had 3 crews. Now they're running 1, they're trying to start a second, and they can't find the manpower to start it. So, the big question I'm often asked is, does York really need another hotel? And the answer is no. It needs a better one. Look at the aging hotel supply at York. Where will the experienced business travelers stay when the handful of premium hotels is full? They're carrying a Hilton card, they're carrying a Marriott card, some carry both. And I can tell you that when our hotels are full with those 2 brands, these folks stay in Lancaster or in Hunt Valley. And that doesn't help the York economy. For us to thrive, we must answer this question consistently well, and that is why we're bringing the Home2 Suites by Hilton brand to York. It will start construction on Pauline Drive in just a few months. We're also bringing this hot new brand to several other locations soon. So here is Springwood Hospitality today, with the right team, in the right industry, with the right brands, at exactly the right time. We grew to 3 hotels in York, we shrank back to 1, and we'll be back to 3 when the Home2 Suites opens next year. Except this time, all 3 will be Hilton branded. We're building a family of 10 to 12 Hilton Marriott branded hotels, and our plan is to sell them as a group to an institutional investor and to retain management of the group. The Home2 Suites in York will be number 7, and we're adding about 2 hotels a year. Springwood folks go home from work every day exhausted because we thrive on serving others with excellence. I am so thankful for every Springwood associate who touches the life of a weary traveler with the hospitality of a smile and with the clean, comfortable hotel that they can call home for a day or a week or longer. We truly cherish the opportunity that we have to make hundreds of travelers' lives better every single day. We have an offering coming out this month. We're investing in 2 new hotels, but I'm not going to make a commercial. If you're interested, see me afterwards or send me an email. But hotels are not all that we do. They take center stage at Springwood these days. But this year we'll also redevelop Northgate Shopping Center. We'll build a restaurant and some small shops on Pauline Drive near Queen Street. And we'll develop some townhouses on Dewdrop Road. We're changing the landscape of York. Fellow Rotarians, live the 4-way test. It's a magnificent roadmap for a life well lived. I'm humbled by the opportunity that I have to serve my fellow travelers, my God, my country, my family, my team, and my community. The destination is the motivator, but the journey is still a thrill. Thank you so much.